Okay, sorry guys, my camera said, hey kid, we're not going to record your videos. So, I've already got the butter and, well, margarine. I'm using margarine. I went over it, but obviously you won't see that. I'm using margarine because these are going to go in the freezer. And the recipe calls for margarine, but normally I'd use butter. Let's get this camera angle high. Oh, that's lower. Normally I'd use butter because it's healthier. But because these are going in the freezer, let's get higher even more. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Anyways, because these are going in the freezer, you're going to want to use margarine or else the cookies are going to freeze solid. So, trick, little thingy. If you're putting anything in the fridge or freezer, like cookies, and you don't want them to be crunchy, use margarine. So I've got butter, margarine, and sugar. Just margarine and sugar, there's no butter. Margarine and sugar in the bowl, and I'm going to cream it. What that means is basically, I'm going to whip it with a electric mixer, because you probably couldn't hear that. I'm going to whip it with an electric mixer until it's creamy, and you'll see because I'll turn the mixer off. Okay, so see how it is nice and lightly colored? Ooh. Okay, so next up is eggs and vanilla. So I'll put that in and then show you. Magic. Okay, now for the purpose of being correct, I'm going to crack the eggs into a thing first. So I'll just show you. Now, you do this to make sure that no yolk or no shell gets in there and the egg is not rotten or whatever, but really, you don't have to do this. I personally don't normally, but because I'm supposed to be showing you guys how to do this, I should probably do it properly. So there you go. That's how you do it. And now, I'm going to beat this until it's ribbony. And I'll show you again because you won't be able to hear me while the thing's going. So here we go. At this point, I want to wipe down the sides with a spatula. Let's get a spatula here. Stay in the shot. Okay, so just wipe down the sides because you want to make sure that there's no like chunks of butter. You're not making a pie crust, or biscuits or anything, so you don't want just random packs of butter in your cookies because that's gross. Now I know you're probably thinking, why is there vanilla in a chocolate cookie recipe? Well, vanilla is a lot like salt in the way that it brings out flavor. You'll notice a lot of chocolate, well, every chocolate is better with salt. If you try like cocoa powder or whatever, or you make a cake without salt, you can taste it. It tastes flat. Salt and vanilla, as well as vinegar, help to brighten the flavors. And they do that through, well, and also black pepper does it too. Basically, they open up your taste buds without getting too technical. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is finish making sure this is uniform, and then I'll add some more stuff. Okay guys, so in here we have 2 cups of cocoa, no, 1 cup of cocoa, sorry, a teaspoon of baking soda, about a third of a teaspoon of, oh no, sorry, 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, no, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, oh my lord, that's not hard, 2 cups of chocolate chips, 2 cups of flour, and yeah, now, we're using baking soda in this because baking soda requires an acid, which the cocoa powder is. Now, one thing you need to remember when you're working with cocoa powder is you need to sift it first, because cocoa powder likes to make clumps. And if you've ever sifted cocoa powder, you know what I mean. You always get those like that big clumps of cocoa powder, which Nobody wants to bite into like a thing of cocoa powder because it's not that great by itself. So I'm just going to mix this on low. You can use a wooden spoon if you want. I just prefer not to. And those are my dogs fighting because I'm Michael Vick. Anyways, just kidding. I'm not Michael Vick. I'm James RAthjen. Anyways, so here we go. I'm just going to turn this on really low because it's all powdery. You don't want it to go everywhere, which it probably still is, which is why you should use a wooden spoon or a spatula or something, but I'm not going to. Haha, I lied, I am going to. It's too thick for the beaters and they might, the engine might blow. So you don't want to use beaters for this part. Don't be an idiot like I was. Now, you see what I'm doing? I'm using the back of the spoon and I'm kind of mushing the butter and the chocolate and everything. This is how you cream butter if you don't have a mixer. And that is perfectly fine if you don't. But what it does is it helps open up parts, like, because what happens is the butter gets coated in flour and then it doesn't want to pick anything up. So by mushing it, you're giving more surface area to the butter to absorb flour. And if you understood that, congratulations, because I didn't even understand what I just said there. But yeah, so now as you can see, it's nice and uniform color. Tastes delicious. You know what? Everyone says don't eat cookie dough. Really, who doesn't want to eat that? I mean, look at that. There's nice and delicious looking. So if you want to eat some now, you know, I didn't tell you to, but you should, because it's delicious. So what I'm going to do is put these on a pan and put them in the oven at 350 degrees, which is the normal cookie temperature. So if you're ever cooking cookies, baking cookies, and you don't know what temperature to put them on, bet for 350 because that's usually a good temperature for cookies because it's nice and low compared to muffins and everything. And even most muffins are like 375. So those muffins that I did, the banana chocolate chip ones that were on for 400, that's because they have a lot of moisture from the bananas and all the milk and all the oil. And the thing about the oil in that recipe and this one, like, if you're going to use margarine, get as least hydrogenated. So like, the margarine I'm using is 70% dehydrogenated, which means that it's better for you than like whatever. But honestly, everything, one of these days, someone's going to say everything kills you that you eat. So I say live life and have fun. Everything in moderation, including moderation. That is a quote that I did not make up. And yeah, so you'll see who said it right here. And I probably just covered the whole screen. Right there. Alright, perfect. Editing magic. Alright, so I'm just going to make sure, and with this you don't have to really worry about gluten because the flour, there's not that much flour in it. There's as much chocolate chips as there is flour. So as with quick breads, you need to worry about that, but with this, you don't really need to. Like, you can work it a bit. It's okay. Yeah, so I'm going to put these on a pan in a 350 degree oven for 8 minutes, I believe. And then I'm going to take them out and put them on a rack. And I will show you the rest of the recipe, which is the part that I thought of, but it's not that innovative. So, here we go. Hey guys, thought I'd show this real quick before I put the cookies on and forget. I'm using parchment paper just for easy cleanup. You don't want to use wax paper because waxed paper, as the name says, has wax on it. So what it'll do is it'll stick to your pan or your cookies. If you're making something like gingerbread or chocolate chip cookies or something where the dough is really firm, you'd want to use, let's get a better view. You'd want to use waxed paper to store it in like the fridge or something. Like, say you're making gingerbread and you've made a whole bunch of gingerbread houses and you're tired of baking, but you still have a little bit left over, you can roll it up into a ball or into a roll and then wrap it in waxed paper, and then it'll store. But parchment paper for anything in the oven, because wax is an oil product and it will burn. And it will make your cookies taste funny, so watch it. So just wax paper, and we're going to put a spoonful size. Let's get 2 spoons here. Now, really, you can make these as big as you want. However big you want your... Like, I'll make a giant cookie just for you guys. A giant cookie right there. Alright? So, actually I need to make another one big so that it has a top, because that would be ridiculous. Nobody's ever heard of half ice cream sandwiches. You can't have an open face ice cream sandwich. What is this? So I'll just make 6 big ones. Now, as you can see, I'm not really caring about the shape of they are. They're just kind of going on the pan. That's because they're gonna melt down in the oven, because having a lot of margarine, they tend to do that. So I've only got 6 on here. You can usually fit 12 on a pan. These pans are kind of small. If you're using a big pan, you can put 12 on, and if you make smaller cookies, you can put 12 on. So I'm going to put these in probably for 9 minutes because they're a bit bigger, but maybe not. We'll see. Yeah. Now, one thing about these, when you take them out, they're going to be really soft. So let them sit for maybe 1.5 minutes. You don't want to let them sit for too long, or else they'll start condensating underneath, and the bottoms will get really soggy and gross. So just a little bit, and they should be good. So I'll put these in the oven. Actually, I'll show you that. Let's go over to the oven. Oh, baby. So it's at 350. I think I said that. Rack in the middle. And we're just going to stick her in there. Now, normally, you want to open the door more, but the tripod's in the way, so it can't really. So I'll just give you a quick peek. They're in the middle, good to go. Whenever you're baking, you want to keep the oven doors closed as much as possible so that the heat doesn't escape and it has an even cooking temperature, else you're going to get wonky results. So that's that. Yeah. So I'll show you when they come out.